Heya! I'm Nate, co-writer and illustrator of Waymaker Chronicles, along with my wife Elise. In the second installment of the Species and Races for role-playing games in the webcomic setting, I'll be going over the Havien Kamen'Ro. The Kamen are the primary civilized species on the planet, and the Barren White region in particular is home to a few varieties of the species. The Ro, or field, in their native tongue Kaish, are larger, more imposing. These Kamen are much more solitary than their smaller cousins. Though the species reproduces in litters like many mammals, the Ro tend to generally have single cubs or twins, where the smaller Ha are known to litter 3 to 6 babies on average. You may have noticed at the start of the sketch that I sketched out more breast shapes than we're generally used to. Say what you want, but I promise this is purely from a Discovery Channel creature design science direction. Mammals that produce more offspring at a time tend to need more parts to feed them with. This difference in population growth speed has led their societal structures to be a little diverse. For a long time, Ro were considered to be nearly savage, often roaming solo across the winter and snow-covered wilderness. Despite the more modern integration into society, many smaller Ha still mutter rumors of cannibalistic giants under their breath. These rumors are not completely unfounded. A wasteland wanderer Ro likely would make a meal of most any creature they get a hold of, but there are far more nourishing creatures to hunt. Ro tend to have strong individualistic and self-sufficient personalities. The ones who have integrated into larger societal settlements are known to simply leave all of a sudden for long spans of time. Those who associate closely with them have come to label this phenomenon as Ro wanderlust. A common Ro struggles, usually, to stay in one place for very long, and generally finds groups of people stifling. Why involve multiple people in a project that I can do alone and with freedom from oversight? This character is a Ro huntress. She is rather civilized, though, as can be shown by her attire. She's ingrained herself in a nomadic tribe as a much-admired survival expert. Her integration is shown by the decoration on her clothing and the hunting trophies worn as jewelry, an approximation of the modern common nomad's traditional mating rituals. A wide-brimmed hat keeps sleet and snow out of her eyes when tracking or lying in wait for an ambush. And the long camouflaged duster coat helps with the idea that this is someone who tries to minimize being seen by prey, or worse, a larger predator, of which there are many. It's been pointed out by some Terrans that some of the most usual Ro dressing styles have strong western cowboy trapper vibes. A Ro of the Barren White region can regularly be seen sporting a wide-brimmed headwear not dissimilar to a cowboy hat. It is not strange, however, to meet a Ro who dresses very differently. As they tend to wander, some wander quite far. In one of the games that I've run recently, there is a common Ro who dresses like a Viking, covered in furs and trophies, wearing a skull helmet with horns. We decided he was actually from a separate region to the north of the Barren White, and just rolled with it. The Ro huntress wields a weapon the Kamen call a long piercer. These energy-blasting rifles were developed recently with the advent of Terran tech designs, involvement in the local cultures. They use the energy of matter collected into an integrated pack device to fire bursts of superheated plasma. The secret to getting through thick hides and dense muscle on Havenic wildlife is to cook your way past those defenses. For good measure, a Kamen wouldn't be caught dead in the wilderness without a proper firestone blade, another means of getting through those hides. So this log piercer has a heavy bayonet attachment made of multiple shards of firestone, akin to a Mesoamerican macahuitl. Firestone usually isn't found in very long pieces, and due to the impurities in the metal, they eventually crumble and shatter into even smaller pieces. It's rare for a Kamen to own a blade much longer than a cooking knife, and those who do are usually prepared to regularly replace the blades with even lower quality copies of the original, stored in their pack device. Degraded and crumbled pieces of used firestone are often gathered and used in settlement lanterns, the lights of civilization. Kamen much like almost every animal and plant on the planet, are almost obligate carnivores. A roe has a sizable caloric requirement, so it's typical that they have hunting as a side skill at the very least. It is frequent that that is the thing that they do, but at least they should know how to hunt and feed themselves. Roe are more heavily furred than the smaller ha, and despite the limitations of my art style, the species is furred all over. I like thick lines and I like strong colors. Simple shapes make it easier to produce a lot of art, and when you're working on a webcomic, that's kind of important. It doesn't stop, the fur doesn't stop at the smoother lines. It's more akin to how Disney artists drew the lions in The Lion King, with thicker fur patches and thinner, more skin-level fur over the rest of the body. One of the players in a few of the games I've run is an artist as well, and had a cool take, which I have since adopted to demonstrate that concept a little more clearly. Fur patterns. Stripes, spots. I liked it, so I started doing it too. You'll see me use that bit here, on the hair and the quotations skin. For this character, I also decided to give her a particular trophy worn as a piece of armor on her shoulder, the remains of a Meganus drone head. It's not uncommon to see Roe wearing pieces of Meganus cyborgs as trophies, kind of a way of saying, this is my world, and I'm strong enough to show you, you can't just have it. Her personal symbol is going to be a blue geometric hunter's eye, which I'll paint onto it. I'll probably have to make a video just about the Meganus and what's known about them. They're one of the main antagonists in the Waymaker Chronicles series, and they recur throughout. There's much more to them than meets the eye, but on Havien they generally appear as either mechanically armored or full cyborg aliens, their bodies being very incompatible with the cold, dry climate of the world. They are, after all, sort of big, angry axolotls who belong in a far warmer and wetter environment. We have Terrans to thank for their sudden technological development as well. The alien monsters operate in a network hive mind and are very quick to observe and adopt new technologies. But like I said, I'll get to them in another video. While the color and shading play out, I'd like to give a special thanks to the Waymaker Chronicles patrons. Elise and I would definitely still be trying to make all these characters and stories, but it's way more fun with all of you. Running the role-playing games with members of the community has been a blast, and so many cool stories have come from it. We reminisce about the stories regularly in the Waymaker Discord server. The world's really come a long way and become a lot deeper and more detailed with the addition of group storytelling into the mix. There is a rule 0, however. Every role-playing story takes place after Kern and Rin, the main characters from the webcomic, have passed through a location. That way each world is free to develop and grow in the wake of their passing. I'll put the links to the Patreon as well as our Discord server down in the description of this video. We'd love to have you there, perhaps even get you in a game with us. I'm under no illusion that I have the time to run a role-playing game for every person I'd ever want to, but frankly, this kind of video is aimed at the idea that others could do it as well. I know one of the little brothers I've been playing these games with for over a decade has expressed an interest in running one in that northern Viking-esque region on Havien at some point, and so that's something to get excited about for sure. I decided this huntress would have fold-over leather covers, kind of belatedly on her pack devices, big glowing lights give your position away, and she wants to be hard to see in the hunts. I imagine the big bayonet gets stowed and pulled out when it's go time. As we have here lined her up with the height squad, Kamen'Ro are very large, while Ha is going to be the representative on Havien of smaller wildcats like bobcats and lynxes. The Ro are more on the tiger and lion end of the spectrum. Ladies like our huntress generally grow to be 7 to 8 feet tall, and though some males make it to a nice round 10 feet. As individuals, they're powerhouses, but in a world where society is primarily developed by large groups of small people, being large but a minority can have its drawbacks when trying to associate with them. I imagine a lot of banging your head on doorposts. That said, in the next video, I'll be drawing and telling about the half-breed race that came from the societal integration of the Ha and the Ro. They don't have a distinct racial denomination yet on account of being a small fraction of the population, but their aptitude for intercultural connection has led half-breed Kamen to take a strong position in politics, religion, and society as a whole. Until then, thanks for watching.